we can go ahead with some questions and remarks, short ones, very short ones. I need the mic of the good come to here, and I need the light to be put on the audience, otherwise the mic will remain with me. Takes Ora first, yes. Speak
Hello,
out.
my name is Devorah Halberstam, and I am from the United States of America. I do not vote in this country, so I'm here just to give an opinion. What I heard here today is rage, and that upset me more than anything else. A lot of anger, but having said that, I should just tell you that Rabbi Jacobs, you come from my side of town, and Joe Potasnik is a very close friend of mine. However, we do disagree.
So that's the short question.
Okay, it's not even a question, it's more an opinion.
Okay,
I will
so
say
make
to
the
you that I
statement
am
here.
an Orthodox religious woman in the United States of America, and I do believe very much in separation of church and state. I think Ruth addressed that and I think that is what this issue is about that I'm hearing. I train law enforcement in the United States of America. I should tell you that. FBI, 400 students in Quantico. I'm not showing off here.
No, just-
My reason for saying it is very distinctive. I'm saying it for a purpose.
Madam, we ran out of time. So you may
then
make
I
a...
turn down the mic.
Yes, I think that's the lesson. Take the mic to somebody else who will make it short.
No, my opinion here is just to separate. I think that there has to be the separation of church and state.
Thank you very much. The lady down there. The lady down there. Name?
My name is Deborah Ledman. I'm from Richmond, Virginia. And I actually have a question that really goes to the excellent presentation from Professor Gavison. You argued that you can make changes within halakha, and that to resolve this, you can modify halakha. And I understand that you can modify halakha. But my question to Rabbi Jacobs and Rabbi Herschel is, how do you do this when you have one side, the Reform side, that rejects halakha totally, and the other that is completely married to it
Thank
indiscriminately?
Clear question. We'll get an answer. Yes. What's your name? Speak up.
My name is Emily Levy Shochat. I am an Israeli of 40 years, although I sound like an American. I am the chairperson of the Torah Masortit Conservativit here in Israel. And my question specifically is to Geveret Bar Shalom and Harav Mordechai. והיא ככה, המציאות היא שהרוב של היהודים בעולם גרים פה בארץ. The majority of Jews live in Israel. And when we're talking about the future, we're talking about, and what happens in terms of Jewish life, Jewish expression, and Jewish feeling in the state of Israel has tremendous implications for Judaism worldwide. And that I think we're hearing. We hear, and what Professor Gavison said, I obviously couldn't say it better, but taking the direction she's saying, we have a situation today where the Orthodox population has, not the population, but where Orthodoxy is, as Rabbi Jacob said, the state religion, if you will. He didn't use that term, I will. It leaves somebody like me as a second-class citizen. Somebody like me is 70% of the population of this country.
I try to drive you to
Are
the question.
you, as leaders within the Orthodox and the ultra-Orthodox world, prepared to bring any of the messages that there needs to be recognition of other expressions of Jewish life and equal recognition and equal support? Do you see that as part of your role vis-a-vis women's issues and other issues as well?
Thank you very much. Another question or statement? Yes. Young woman.
Hi, I'm Tally Peltz. I'm a student from Chicago, Illinois. My question is for Professor Gavson. I just want to hear a little bit more about your agreement with Rav Meidan. I am interested in how you could reconcile what is seemingly two very differing views, and I want to know how you came to that reconciliation and more specific topics you discussed.
Another question from the audience. Yes, go down to this young man. Let's try. I will try to follow.
שאלה שלי, נראה לי השאלה שלי בעיקר מופנית לפרופסור גביזון, אבל כולם מוזמנים לענות. עדיין אתם יודעים, אני בא מארגון שהוא באופן די אינהרנטי מפלה גברים ונשים, והשאלה שלי היא איך אנחנו יכולים אולי לקחת כמה מהרעיונות שעלו פה, ואיך אפשר ליישם אותם אולי בארגון כמו צבא, שבגלל פשוט אופי העבודה שלו, ההפרש בין גברים לנשים הוא מובנה מאוד במערכת.
Thank you.
תודה.
There is a lady in front of you who wanted to ask. Please, in pink. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Hi, I'm Debbie Shapiro, and as you can see, I'm ultra-Orthodox, so you can... Anyway, okay, say boo. What I wanted to ask is, I mean, this is like a very funny question, but I've always felt that feminism is almost apologetic. Like, people want to be like men, but I've never seen any like men put on frilly aprons and light Shabbos candles. So why is it only that we're trying to be like them, and they're not trying to be like us? What's going on here? I mean, I'm proud of being a feminine feminist.
Okay.
So,
Down there, the woman in black. It's not a movie, it's the woman.
היי. יש לי שתי שאלות. הראשונה לרב מרדכי. לא הבנתי למה התכוונת בסוף הנאום שלך, שאם אנחנו ממשיכים קדימה כמו עכשיו, אתה לא רוצה להמשיך קדימה. והשאלה השנייה שלי היא לעדינה בר שלום. איך יכול להיות שוויון מלא במדינה הזאת לנשים, כשהחוק של נישואים וגירושים הוא חוק דתי, פטריארכלי ולא שוויוני?
We are done with the questions. Voice from heaven. We take answers from the dais, short answers, and then we'll close the session with a short note of mine. Adina, please start.
תודה. אני אתחיל דווקא מהשאלה האחרונה. איך קובעים שההלכה תתאים לתקופה? יש לנו רבנים שיושבים ושוברים את הראש כל הזמן כדי שההלכה תתאים לתקופה, ומתחשבים כן ברצונות הנשים, אבל עדיין לא ראיתי גברים יולדים, ולכן עדיין מי שהיא אימא זו האישה, וכשהאישה היא אימא, הגבר אם הוא לא שחרר אותה היא יכולה להביא ממזרים לעולם, ואנחנו רוצים לחסוך את הצרה הזו. לכן נישואים וגירושים ליהודים שומרי מצוות וליהודים שרוצים לחיות פה צריכים להיות לפי ההלכה. משתדלים לעשות הכל כדי למנוע מנשים להפוך לעגונות, אבל יש גם גברים שנשים לא משחררות אותם והן עוברות ייסורים לא קלים עד שהם משתחררים. מה שכן צריך לעודד את ההסכמים טרום נישואים ולאכוף אותם כדי שהבעל כן ישחרר את אשתו לפי ההסכם שעשו שניהם. נשים היום מתקדמות בכל השטחים, גם הנשים החרדיות גאות בזה שהן נשים ולא גברים. אני לא ראיתי אישה שמוכנה להחליף את המטלות שיש היום לגברים, ולשבת וללמוד תורה מבוקר עד לילה זה לא תענוג כל כך גדול. יש לנו את הזכות שאנחנו נשים, אנחנו פטורות מהרבה מצוות שקבעו רבותינו, ומי שבוחרת כן ללמוד היום יכולה לעשות את זה. אין היום רבנים שאוסרים את זה. זמננו בידינו וכל אחת בוחרת את דרכה. תודה.
Rick, you got few questions to answer. Many of them in between you and Mordechai.
So first I want to say there are two things that I love that both need to change. The Jewish tradition and the state of Israel. And I'd like, however, to say that I don't think we're going to change the Jewish tradition across the board here in this panel. And I actually deeply respect all of the different pathways to live authentic Jewish lives. What we need is a state of Israel that does no harm to the natural evolution, growth, and flowering of the Jewish tradition and the Jewish people. And what I think Professor Gavison outlined for us is a pathway to do that. That is in literally our hands to do today, not in 100 years, not in 1,000 years. The Jewish tradition, the question was asked about halakha. We care about halakha, but we interpret it differently. We care deeply and live the Jewish tradition. We practice it differently than the ultra-Orthodox or the modern Orthodox or the conservative. What we need in the state of Israel is the respect and the commitment to let all the different authentic forms of Judaism grow and flower. And feminism is a positive. And what we want is to add new voices, not just to have women take on male roles, but to add another whole dimension to the Jewish tradition. My grandmother was, she finished law school in 1928, and she taught all of us, her grandchildren who are men or grandchildren or girls, that we have a tradition that respects learning and commitment, and we can change the world. Let us start with the Jewish tradition, and let us also focus, most importantly, leaving this hall today, that we can change the state of Israel so that women will have legal equality and we can evolve a society that truly reflects the best values of our Jewish tradition.
Ms. Kaufman.
I'm sorry the woman who talked about rage left because she was angry, I guess. I don't think we have rage. I think we have what we've always had as Jews, which is a healthy, passionate dialogue. And I say kol hakavod to everyone and to all the panelists, because that's what I want to do, is be in a healthy, positive dialogue. So if I see her, I will tell her that. The woman who said that women want to be like men, I have no desire to be like men, and I don't think that's what we're talking about. I think we're talking about women want to be able to be women and to be able to have the same equality and access and opportunity that men have. But doesn't mean we want to be like men. And I just would say that, just to echo Rabbi Jacobs, that we all, there are too few of us in this, there are too few Jews in the world, unfortunately, because of our own history in the last century, and there's not enough of us. So it seems to me that we should celebrate every type of Judaism, and the fact that we want to do work in the world, whether it's religious work or social justice work as Jews, and proudly do it as Jews, is something for us to celebrate, and we should be welcoming anyone in our midst who wants to do that from a Jewish place. So I think we make a terrible mistake by not really taking a page out of the books of our forefathers and foremothers, which, you know, the Talmud is full of arguments for the sake of heaven. So I think we should all be arguing for the sake of heaven.
Rabbi Nogosha.
I will answer only...
First of all, I think that you have to turn on the mic. You have a loud voice, but it's better through the mic.
I will try to answer only the last question, which was directed to me because of the lack of time. This question is concerning the things which I said, which was so unclear. Why don't I want to be part of the future if it goes on the direction of the present? Actually, it could not be clear because I didn't give any introduction. I referred to the fact that such a lot of girls are humiliated because of the mixture between male and female, because of the lack of the respect of the differences, and the fact that such a lot of terrible things happen. And the reason that I don't want to be part of it is out of respect to each one of us. I want to share with you a short joke and real story. When a committee of rabbis came to meet Eleanor Roosevelt during the Second World War in order to convince her husband to do something for the poor European Jewry, Eleanor Roosevelt gave her hand to the first rabbi. He told her, "Mrs. President, I'm sorry, but my religion doesn't let me to shake hands with ladies." Her spontaneous reaction was, "I wish my husband had such a religion."
Thank you. I want to say
It's okay.
One thing. There is a great distinction between equality and identity. And I think Judaism can and should give women equality of dignity, but not necessarily identity. It treats men and women as different, but not as inferior, superior. And this is the same as Judaism does and should do with Jews and non-Jews. They're different. The difference is important. We want to maintain it, but it's not superiority.
Definitely.
Or inferiority. Okay, so this is the principle, and now what do we do with that? Gavizon Medan, Google us. Army is a very, very complicated issue. It's a very important issue. We should discuss this. You can't do it here and now. So I will only say something about changes in the halakha. One of the fantastic things about the halakha is the creation of tradition. It defines the tradition, and it's immanent to the tradition. So one of the things that cannot happen is to force halakha to change itself from the outside. And this is why we have here a fascinating partnership. First of all, between people who think of themselves as players in the halakha. And we have some people on this desk, and some deny that the other is a player, and they have a discussion of the legitimacy of each other as a player, and this is an internal halachic discussion. Very important. The only way to change halakha is by social processes and legal authoritative processes from within the halakha. But the only way to force the sages to do something within the halakha is to show them that what they have created is something that the tzibur cannot live with. Because if the tzibur cannot live with it, then they know that they need to adapt and to adjust. So the fascinating thing is the internal struggle of men and women within the halakha. And this is being done all over the place, and it's fantastic. It's not quick enough, but we cannot hasten it from the outside. We must be patient, facilitate and not coerce. That's the key to success.
My last sentence to you before you leave, please remain for a minute. I'm the president of the Hebrew University, and you are in the last session before the closing session of the president. We had the honor of organizing this conference intellectually, not with regard to ceremonies, and we think that we did our share in attract you, and we want to take this opportunity to thank you for coming and to urge you to come next year. Second point, I'm a teacher of history. And as a teacher of history, medieval history, I would say in a very clear way that changes have been made through the ages against the law of the Talmud by sages who realized that reality is different and things could be irrelevant if they insist on going verbatim to wording that might be irrelevant. Thirdly, you leave this session. Please remember, how did I start? I said, it's nice to talk about huge systems, but the responsibility is of everybody in this room. So when you go outside, and this issue is important to you, keep in mind that the change and the tomorrow is in your hands, both legally, halachically, because you know how to do it socially and culturally. Thank you very much.